From viral YouTube covers to The Voice, Maddi Jane is bringing the fire with her brand new single, Almighty. We sit down with her to talk about music, faith, and the message behind the sound. You're not going to want to miss this. Kingdom Builder starts right now.
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is John Wesley.
Hey, Josh Bissell here.
Hey, this is Jamie McDonald.
What's up? I'm Laverdier.
What's up, y'all? This is Seth Schleter, and you are tuned in to Kingdom Builder.
There's a lot of feelings competing for my attention. I never feel peace till I sit down with you and listen. Holy on my end, cover me and guide my steps. You're the king of promises. I was lost, but I found my way. You're on time, my time and place. Turn my back, but you always stayed. Never left me, Father. I was broken, show me mercy. Your love heals when I'm hurting.
Hey friends, welcome back to Kingdom Builder. I'm Mike Laxton. Today I'm thrilled to introduce you to someone you may already know from her viral YouTube covers, her amazing run on The Voice, or her bold steps into faith-driven music. She's an artist with over 500 million views on YouTube alone and a voice that bridges pop, R&B, and worship. Please welcome to Kingdom Builder, Maddi Jane.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's glad to have you on Kingdom Builder today. Definitely, honestly, I heard the song that we're going to talk about today, Almighty, and I'm like, I really like this sound, and we'll get into that a little bit, and as far as that goes. But for those who may not be familiar with you, I know you've kind of been online for a little bit for a while. I know that you started out kind of like a viral teen sensation on YouTube, and then you had a run on The Voice. So, kind of, how does that progression from your teen years to The Voice to now, how does that progression compare yourself as far as the Maddi Jane then to the Maddi Jane now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I did start music when I was about 11 years old, kind of by happenstance. I've always had a passion for musical theater and performing, as many young Midwest kids do. I'm from Illinois. And YouTube was just kind of starting out, and I was at my guitar teacher's house, and he or my dad filmed a jam session that we were just jamming with his nephew. And the Ellen show was trying to find kids on the internet to have in her talent show. And so I went on her talent show when I was just 11 years old. And honestly, in my head, I thought about it like I would think about theater. So I don't think I even registered that it was like TV. I think I was just like, is this Les Mis? I'm not sure. Like, I'm just going to like do my thing, it was like really funny. But then, yeah, I was definitely taken on kind of a wild journey and signed to a couple different production companies in my teen years, and felt like that was kind of the origin of some mental health struggles, and felt like I was getting lost in the company and the machine of pushing out content and all those things. And then actually made the decision to pick a different route for my music when I was about 19 years old. And I moved to Los Angeles from Wheaton. And I decided that I wanted to be a music producer, and that if I was going to really be able to create what I heard in my head, that I would need to teach myself more about music production. And so I would make flashcards. I would watch YouTube videos about music production and then make little flashcards and quiz myself on it until I could make a demo that I liked. And that took me about 3 years. Like, for some people, maybe that kind of thing comes more naturally, but it did not come naturally to me. It took me a long time. But I'm so glad that I made that decision, because it's launched me into a journey of releasing original music and having the language that I always desired as a kid, and given me the opportunity to stay true to my faith and stay true to my beliefs, and just having more of a small organic team. And God has just been so faithful to provide, and so faithful to bring me people around me that inspire me to keep going.
You had a really good start as far as like, doing the online stuff, and then you're on that Ellen show. I mean, that's a pretty big deal. So just to say that, you've had this trajectory that's gotten to where you are. It's just amazing how God's taking you down that path. And, obviously, getting the early start on YouTube, you had to jump on that. And I know you've done some stuff at South by Southwest in Austin. You've done The Voice. Was there a particular moment or experience that maybe was the most surreal, and how did that kind of shape your creative process as now you stepping into the faith-based music area?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I just want to say, like, it seems like from this perspective, it's just been like, oh, here was a peak here, and like here was a peak here, and it just went up like that. It wasn't like that. It was like a roll. It was like up and down and all around. And I definitely had moments where I thought, I think that, the glory days are behind me. And like, I think that I'm just going to pursue something else now. And every time I got to that low point in finances or in just all the rejection that comes with being in the music industry, Jesus was there for me. And he was just continually speaking courage over me to keep going, and letting me be honest with him about how I was feeling. And social media can make it out to be such a surreal, like glorious journey, from the outside looking in. But every time anyone steps out to pursue something they feel called to, there's going to be hurdles. There's going to be roadblocks. And really, it's been so growth provoking to follow music, because it's challenged me to have to rely on God more for everything. And I don't know. It's been a good decision to pursue music because I love it, but also because it keeps me dependent on God, I feel like.
No, I definitely I can see that. And music, from all the artists I talk with, music is an outlet. It's for you to get out, your your feelings, your emotions, whatever. And also, of course, on the worship and praise side, you're calling out to God. Hey, you are worthy of our praise. This is what
Yeah.
we're gonna do. And
Yeah.
going into the song Almighty. And
Mhm.
I heard a little bit about the background, but I want you to kind of talk about the
Yeah.
message behind it and how that collaboration with the Songhouse and the Soul House came about, because
Yeah.
just that story itself was pretty amazing all in itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's felt so good. This is actually my first worship song that I've ever put out. And it's just felt really fun because I've been worship leading at church, all my life. And kind of, I think because of my music journey growing up and all the people that were involved in the team, like there were outside sources that defined my genre as pop early on and were like, you're pop, you're going to be a pop star. Like, this is what's happening. And in some ways, that was cool and fun because I love Rihanna and I love soul, and I grew up singing all of that and super inspired by some hip hop artists as well. But then to meet some people in Nashville via the Soul House who I love, like their style of music. This artist, his name is Zay, super incredible voice, incredible director and producer. For anyone watching who doesn't know who the Soul House is, there's this collective called the Songhouse in Nashville, and Tyler Ward was a big YouTuber back in the day when I started, so I knew his videos from YouTube. And as he's gotten older, he decided to buy a plot of land in Nashville and build like a camp situation and recording studios, and lots of artists just come there and he helps them write just like short snippet songs that are prompted by a question that like helps people to really dive in or think about something real and truthful. And then he records each of them singing it. And that's what the Songhouse is. And it's been there for a few years. I'd seen them on Instagram. After The Voice, I got reconnected with some people in Nashville from my cover days when I was younger. And they invited me to do a concert at the Franklin Summer Bash. And when I was in Nashville, I told my best friend and my manager, like, you should reach out to the Songhouse just in case I can stop in and do a song or something. And so she reached out to them. They were gracious enough to let me come over. And then that's how I got connected to some of their community who were like, I think that we want to take what we've done recently with Maverick City and turn this into an actual branch of what we're doing. Cause they did a album called Mav House. Mm-hmm. So the Songhouse and Maverick City, and it was such a beautiful record. And so I'm just so honored to be a part of their first launch. Almighty is the launch of their first project, and they've got some amazing other artists to come, amazing songs to come. We're going to have a new song with me and them dropping in a couple months. So I'm really excited.
It's, after what I've heard from Almighty, I'm excited too. So it'll be good to see what comes from that. I mean, because musically, that song, I come from a background of actually Christian hip hop. So I actually worked in that industry for several years back, about 10 or so years ago. So when I heard that, like, you definitely have that blend of the hip hop in there with you're basically going almost on a rap for a little bit. And it's like,
totally.
You've got some bars.
Aw, thank you.
So, and then of course you've got the pop, and then of course there's just some throwback R&B, and then of course you do the sampling as well from that. I don't know if you can talk a little bit about the sample that you took from the beginning, because I saw that on Instagram, and I'm like, okay, let's talk about that. Can you kind of explain how that came about?
Yeah, totally. So basically, wait, I'm so curious. Like, what Christian hip hop artists did you work with, or are you interested?
So I worked with a company called Shamrock Media Group. It was run by a guy named Chris Chicago.
Okay.
He did radio promotions. So I actually helped, he actually passed away last year, good friend of the industry, but very good friend of mine and our family. And I actually helped promote Reach Records when they started out. So all those artists that, so that basically we would talk about the foundation. So for example, Church Clap KB, I actually promoted that to radio when it came out. So
amazing. I love that.
So that was more my background is, and I've done many other things in the industry, but it's just, I heard that, I'm like, this is really good. I like it.
Totally. And I'm so encouraged by the people on Reach Records, No Big Deal, John Keith, and EK, because I think that there's a movement right now, and even people like Henrik and like non-explicitly Christian artists like Jake and Joshua Bassett, like people who are speaking out about their faith. I think it's so needed to just let the next generation know that faith isn't just something that's for, your grandma or your mom, and you need to repent, and like the religiosity of it. I feel like there's a way of just like authentic David, like, crying out to God for dependence, which is just so incredible to see.
And you touched on that. I actually have a 12-year-old daughter who's been very involved in our work here on Kingdom Builder, and as far as like other helping with interviews and talking to artists too, and just hearing your song is like, this is. I listen to some of the stuff that's out there now in the mainstream market. I'm like, I don't want my kids listening to that. I'm like, it's like, oh, it sounds good, but if you listen to it lyrically, I'm like, this is not God pleasing at all.
I do want to make music in pop that helps form identity in the right way, instead of like tearing down identity,
No, yeah, for sure. And again, you've got that, you've already had a great start there with Almighty, and just really looking into the lyrics and really just drilling down what that sounds like. On a spiritual level, what does that word Almighty mean to you right now in your faith walk?
I think that the story of David has always meant so much to me, like so much so that I actually got, I have like a slingshot tattoo on my forearm. It's like, which is very random and simple, but I was so inspired by David's authenticity and also his courage. And it's the right time to have David as your favorite Bible character because of the House of David that has come out on Amazon Prime. It just gave me, it's so good. Everyone should watch it. Yes. But yeah, I think that there's a verse that has really formed my faith, and it says, lots of kings put their trust in chariots and horses and the number of their men, but those who put their trust in the Lord will be saved. And it just goes back to like when the Israelites were first taking over all the land in the promised land. There were so many people that were like, they're small in number, where is their God? Like around the same time that David entered the picture. And he was like, I am small, but I have God who I put my trust in. And it's not about the size of my circumstances or what I have to offer. It's about the size of my God. And it's about the power of God. And he won every battle that he stepped into, and Jesus was a descendant of his, so his reign literally lasted forever. And yeah, so I think I have just seen a lot in the music industry of people putting their trust in money or putting their trust in how they look or how many followers they have. And it's a gift every single day to be able to have the perspective of like, I actually don't have to play by those rules in order to be successful, and I don't have to focus on those things, because that's like the modern day version of people putting their trust in like chariots and horses and men. You know, like I get to put my hope in God, and I can boast about him all day because he's never going to let me down, and he's going to open the right doors for me, you know?
Mm-hmm. Now, I know you mentioned some of your influences kind of as far as the genres that would influence your sound or what's coming up here in the future. But for those who haven't listened to Almighty yet, which again, highly recommend everyone to take a listen to it, because I think it'll, well, I'll let you explain. What for artists, for people who have not yet listened to Almighty, what kind of artists would you say that it would resonate as far as like your influence go in that particular song? Song.
Totally. I honestly hate to say it because of like the decisions that he's making now, but the Homecoming album that Kanye did back in the day, just with his beat pad and everything, the Good Morning song, but basically like that 2000s, 90s hip hop energy is what me and Joey, my producer, were sort of vibing off of. And he's like, man, I miss that era. And I was like, me too. I miss that too. And even the Chance Coloring Book album was the song Angels and, I got my city doing front flips. It's like so bold and just fun. And that was kind of the genre that we pulled from. And it was really cool because we were working on Zoom, and Joey was just going through videos that he had saved on Instagram for inspiration. And there was a video on Instagram of Fiston Smith singing in, I think, East Africa with his community, just covering worship songs. And they just sounded so beautiful. We just took that audio to the sample and threw it in the song. And that was kind of the base of the song. It's really
and it's funny is that, when I first listened to Almighty, I'm like, I didn't even catch that until you pointed it out in your Instagram. I'm like, whoa, that's actually really cool. Like you hear that little, because then you kind of speed it up a little bit to make it fit into the rhythm and the sound. But it's like, this is, when you actually put it into context, it's like, this is actually like, you've literally got people in this song from all over the world like contributing to it. So that's just from a global church perspective, they're really like, we're all celebrating the Almighty. So that's I just thought that was really cool how that came together.
And we reached out to him too and like asked for his permission to use it, and he was like, yeah, like so excited about it. He was like hitting us back at like in the middle of the night our time, like via email, because he's literally on the other side of the world. And it was just, I was so glad that he liked the song and wanted to support it and everything.
Well, for those, again, if you haven't listened to it, we'll definitely make sure we put a link to it here in the description. But with the song now gaining some momentum, it's getting some editorial attention, of course. And it got my attention. What's next for Maddi Jane as far as like maybe a full project, EP, a tour? What are we looking at?
Yeah, so actually last night I opened for this artist called Chris Renzema. He did the song Springtime, and I've been listening to him since high school, actually. So I was really excited about that opportunity. And so I'm hoping to be opening for some other artists that are in this progressive Christian lane right now. So definitely on the lookout for those opportunities. And then tomorrow I'm driving down to Nashville to start writing options for the next project. So I am trying to work on a full project that is the same vibe as Almighty. So hoping to have that out by the fall, but we'll see.
Well, when that comes out, or at least when we get up to it, definitely would love to have you back on and talk about, kind of drill down each track and kind of take a listen to that. But for those, who who are going to listen to your music, if they only had 30 seconds to hear you today, what do you hope they walk away knowing about your heart, your music, and your message?
I would hope that they would listen to Almighty, and I would hope that they feel inspired to continue pursuing the Lord with all their heart and whatever He's calling them to do next in their life.
It's been a pleasure having you on. And before we close it out today, for those who want to stay connected with you as well, or be part of what's next, where can they find you?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And they can find me on Instagram at Maddi Jane Music, or on Spotify, just Maddi Jane. And Maddi is spelled Maddi.
Okay, perfect. And one last question, just because I want to throw it out there.
Mhm.
What's the bottom line of this new season of music for you? Not just sonically, but spiritually. What's the deeper calling you feel God leading you to step into through your artistry right now?
Man, I think I'm entering a huge season of just trust and like letting the Lord lead it. I never expected to be doing like not like that my other music wasn't Christian, but this is more explicitly Christian. This was a plot twist for me, for Him to tap on my heart and be like, it's time you really bring this to the surface. And I think that I have a vision of just merging that pop celebratory victory that the Lord deserves. Like, He's coming back. Like, He's gonna come back. And He deserves a whole rollout, red carpet celebration moment. And if we can be a part of that celebration and that call to prepare the way for Him and calling lost sons and daughters home, like, let's freaking go, you know? Like, I'm ready. Like, I'm buckled. I am buckled up right now.
As I've said numerous times to other friends of mine, I feel like this season recently, like last couple months, last couple years, just this time period, I feel like there's like some sort of revival going on. There's more,
Yeah.
a lot of people coming to church. A lot of people are being
feel
curious
it.
about Christianity, and then now you have the music to back that up to go with it. So I think that God's topping you. Hey, Maddie, you need to do this. It's like, hey, you need to compete with this other stuff that's out there that's not pleasing to Him. So that way, it's, if you put it side by side, if you don't listen to the lyrics, you're not going to know. And it's like, wait, then, so like you get out there into the world, distribute that to the world. They're going to be like, okay, what is this? And they're going to be like, okay, who's this person they're talking about? Who's this Jesus? And they're going to ask questions, and those questions are going to, they're going to find out what that promise of salvation is, and turn their ways. And it's a very exciting time right now. So I'm very happy to hear where your path is going, where God's taking you. I'm very excited about that. And I mean, just thank you so much for taking the time with us on Kingdom Builder to really just share your heart and your story with us.
Of course, anytime. I look forward to talking again soon.
Big thanks again to Maddi Jane for hanging out with us today on Kingdom Builder. It was awesome hearing about her journey and her new single, Almighty. But don't go just yet. Make sure you hit that like button, drop us a comment, share this with a friend, and make sure you subscribe. And if you want to know more about Maddi and her music and how to connect with her, click the links in the description and check out everything today's Christian entertainment has to offer. Until next time, this is Mike Laxton reminding you to put Christ first in your lives, and everything else will fall into place.
I've been different since you caught the tears that I cried.